Good evening. What up, loyal ladies? I'm live in the Facebook group. So if you are joining, thank you for joining. I'm also live on my Facebook page and my personal page. So I'll give you a few minutes for some more people to join. See if anybody else joins us. Can y'all hear me? Please let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Hey, Kristen. All right, so I'm just going to get started. If this is your first time joining me, I am Danielle Steele Williams, the Coach D Prison Marriage Coach. You may be saying, what in the world is a prison marriage coach? That is for us ladies that are prison wives, and I am a former prison wife. And as I went through that journey for 14 and a half years, it's a lot that I learned and experienced, and I needed help on the way that I did not have. So I decided once I got through it to help other ladies as they were waiting, and even after for when their loved one returned. So again, my name is Danielle Steele Williams. Hey Kristen, hey Steph, that's my sister. So my husband was incarcerated for 14 and a half years. I was there the entire time, and I learned so much on this journey. It's nothing that anybody wants to be. Nobody grows up and, oh, I wish I was a prison wife, but hey, life happens and that's what happened. So with that being said, again, that's why prison marriage coaches, and I don't say coaches, but as far as I know, that's something that I've deemed myself and started because I knew these relationships needed help. Relationships, period. Marriage, relationships, we are difficult anyway, can be. So when you throw in prison, it's extra difficult, it's extra challenging. All right, so that's why I'm here to help those ladies through this journey. And believe it or not, y'all, it's one out of two people have been impacted by incarceration. And of course, the U.S. has the highest incarceration rate. So there's somebody on this timeline that is in prison, that you're connected to, that's in prison, that's returning soon, or unfortunately on their way. So, share the video just so they can see and learn about reentry. All right, so as I said, my husband was sentenced to 22 and a half years for a nonviolent crime. He did 14 and a half. While he was there, I wrote Prison Wife and Prison Marriage Boot Camp for him and her. So those books are available on Amazon. So my Facebook group for the Lives of Prison Wives, Loyal Ladies, the topic of reentry came up. And I just wanted to touch on it because it's a lot to cover in reentry. Honestly, y'all, reentry never ends, okay? Because once you've done time, it's nothing you can forget. If your loved ones waited, it's nothing they're going to forget. They're going to forget. Even if you weren't with your person while they were in prison, you still have to deal with that person, how they've been impacted when they were in prison. So that's why I say reentry really never ends. So one thing that I also want to say is reentry does not look the same for everybody. It's different for everybody. Why? Because first of all, we're all different, so that's common sense. But it's going to look different for everybody. Everybody's situation is not the same in prison. Some people will come out and seem to appear to be fine and able to do what they need to do. Some will struggle. Some have been traumatized more than others. And we don't know what they've been exposed to, when they're in prison. We never will fully be able to grasp because we aren't there. And it's not like it's nothing that just is voluntarily told all the time, so you're not going to know everything that a person dealt with in prison. It's never too early, and this is important, to start reentry. That's why I titled this Reentry Starts Before Reentry. All right, so that's why I did Prison Wife. That's why I did Prison Marriage Boot Camp workbooks for him and her, because you have to shift your mind while you're waiting. Your loved one has to be shifting their mind and getting prepared for coming home. You have to start preparing your mind for when they come home. And that starts while they're on the inside. Don't wait till they're released and then try to get things in order. That makes it even more difficult. So the thing is, and it don't matter where you at in the journey. If you 1 year, if your loved one got 1 year, you still need to start transitioning your mind for when they come home. If they got 20, you still need to start transitioning. There are still things that you can do to change and shift your mindset. And a lot of that, let me tell you why I think it's important. Because prison wives are judged, but at the same time, I think people should look at it from a different perspective. When a loved one returns, if they have a companion that has waited on them, that's who they're returning to. That's the person that really is responsible. They're not taking responsibility off of them at all, but that person is the one that's going to be right there to help them adjust the most. So that's why, prison wives, if they're waiting, are important. And whoever they meet on the outside, that significant other, is the most important, because we know it's the women that matter. We know that, that's just how relationships go. Your loved one or your companion is the important person. So that's the one, if that's who they're coming home to, needs to have things in order for them to adjust and transition smoothly. Because it's not going to be, there's always going to be something to adjust to. Also, it's not just about the person returning home. They also have to adjust to you, because they're set in their routine and you're set in your routine. If you've been doing things a certain way for years, and then you have someone coming home from prison and they're used to their way of doing things, that's an adjustment. But they also need to take into consideration, it ain't all about them. They have to adjust to you too. So I'm just touching on the basics today, because this is way deeper than, what I'm giving you now. But these are just the basic things, because there are things to put in place and, for when your loved one returns. And again, have the mindset shift now. Don't wait until they get home and try to get things in order. It's going to be even more difficult, because a lot of these relationships don't last past a year, because it gets too complicated. And you're excited, and ready for them. And let me touch on that. Before they come home, you are going to have a roller coaster of emotions. So don't get mad at yourself. And this is not even just for a loved one, this family members, period. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't feel guilty. You may not, as time gets closer, it's the fear of the unknown. So there may be excitement, and then you may be at the other end of the spectrum and not ready at all. And you may just fluctuate. Some days it's like, I'm excited, I'm ready. And other days it's like, I don't know what to expect. Are they going to come home the same way? Are they, how much have they been impacted by incarceration? How much will I have to change my life? Are they going to be able to come home and find work? What type of expectations am I going to have? All of these questions and things, it's going to give you anxiety. It's exciting, but especially if somebody's been gone a long time, and y'all, they be thinking they know. They can be gone 15 years, 5 years, 1 year. Life out here for us changes. But in their world, in their head, they think they know when they get out here. I got this mapped out. This is what it's going to be. This is how I'm going to do it. and they get out here and it's totally different. So it's almost like you go from one journey to the next journey. Let me see what else I have for you. It's never too early. Yeah, the fear of no, both of you have to adjust. Yes. Now, also, my husband was in federal prison, so he went to a halfway house. Some people come straight home. Now, this is just me speaking. You may want your loved one to come straight home. For me, I felt like I didn't like the halfway house. There are a lot of things I didn't like about it because you're technically still under the BOP care, Bureau of Prison. But what it did, it calmed me down, and I wasn't overwhelmed because, I had children too. So that could have been a lot for my husband. Nothing against my husband, but come straight from prison to home immediately, that would overwhelm me. So I was grateful for the halfway house for that point only, because it's a lot that I just I didn't too much care for. But it helped. Now some people may be okay with that loved one coming straight home. Honestly, you don't have a choice. If they're coming, they're coming. So be prepared. Basically, is all you can do. But the transition homes or halfway homes, they kind of help as a buffer, so they won't just come straight home to overwhelm. And not just you being overwhelmed, it can be overwhelming for them to come home because they're in the halfway house. It's like they have a little more freedom than they did when they were in prison. So they're getting freedom in doses. And as they getting freedom in doses, we getting them in doses. So if that makes sense. Also, it's important to keep the line of communication open. Can't shut down. Now, once again, you don't know how your loved one will come home. I have heard of prison wives whose loved ones come home and they shut down, just because it's new to them and they are lost and they don't know what to do, And if it gets to that point, then yes, I would advise, find somebody professional to help you. Get therapy, get counseling, marriage counseling. Me personally, we have not gone that route yet. And honestly, I can tell y'all, I wrote Prayers of a Prison Wife. I truly believe, had I not prayed my way through this, we wouldn't have made it as far as we have now. So my husband's been home 4 years. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with help. There's nothing wrong with therapy at all. I recommend it. Hi, Amber. Margaretta, hey, how are you? Thank y'all for joining. Let me know if you have any questions. Hey, Sibby. Are we able to help pick a no, I wasn't. No. Most of the time they are released to where their loved one is, that area. However, I don't know, because some people have had to travel even to the halfway house. So I don't want to give out the wrong information, but no, I was not able to pick. What up, Tonio? But yes, so basically, like I said, I'm just touching on the very basic tonight about reentry. I will come on here again because there were a lot of questions in the group. And again, if you are a prison wife, that group is for the lives of prison wives, loyal ladies. That's for our prison wives. And in there, we help each other through whatever we're going through, and it's private, so everybody's not, able to see. So that's the whole point of the private group, to keep us supporting each other and anonymous. And I can be found on Instagram, YouTube, all platforms as For the Lives of Prison Wives. And again, those books are Prayers of a Prison Wife and prison marriage boot camp for him and her. And this is good for laying the foundation before prison, while they're in there, and when they return. This book is not to be completed at one. Let me tell y'all, this book is not to be completed in one day with your loved one. These are some deep topics in here. This is to, what's the word I'm looking for? This is to help with communication on different topics. You got to get stuff to especially men. You got to get stuff to them in chunks. You can't just overwhelm them with all your issues in one day. That ain't gonna work. So take a chapter, at a time. We don't do the whole book together, but the thing is, the purpose of the book is for the loved one in the free world and the incarcerated world to complete the book together and communicate. There's also an online course. So there's a link in my description. Hit that link. That's where you can purchase the books. That's where you can join the Prison Marriage Bootcamp wait list so that you can get updates on the trainings and everything that's coming up. And when I go live, and I think that's all I have for you. Oh, yes, and most importantly, y'all, this takes money to do these things, funding. So there's also a link for GoFundMe so that these books can continue to be published and get in the hands of, incarcerated families. Subscription boxes can be shipped out, all those things. So take a look, share the link, the GoFundMe link. If you can't give, at least share the link. It's in the description. All right. Is there anything else? Anybody else have any comments, questions? Glad to have you. Thanks for joining again. Read the topics, please. Okay, the topics of the book. Yeah. Individual relationship with God, couple relationship with God, self-care, role of a husband, role of a wife, couple relationship, go-getter, and communication. And the purpose of this, y'all, really, we think we know how to be in relationships, and that's relationships, period, not just prison. But it's deeper than that. They're not. We know relationships and marriages are like under attack because we just don't know what to do. We go to work, we learn what to do. We think we put work above a relationship. We do what we got to do to get our job done and learn the job, but we don't do what we got to do to keep marriages intact, So basically that's what this is about. Learning each other and learning the roles and what to do and how to apply it to relationships, especially specifically prison relationships. All right. All righty. So thank y'all for joining. And I will let you know. A matter of fact, I'm going to put out a text link so that you can be notified of the next live. All right. You're welcome, Karen. All right. Thank y'all. And have a great evening. Stay strong, beautiful, unbothered, ladies.